Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hoopers Lab podcast. I'm your host, Brody, and this is the podcast where we talk all things basketball. I'm joined here by my co host, Riley.
Hello, hello.
How
That's
are you doing today?
I'm doing quite swell. I'm don't know how I'm feeling about the new intro now.
Well, I mean,
Kind
we
of,
can we
kind
can
of,
play around
kind of,
with it, you
kind of
know?
threw me off.
Yeah, no, I know, because we've been doing the exact same intro for
I
so
know. I didn't
long.
realize we
So
did like over 100 episodes before. I didn't feel like that
we
was
did
that much.
we did over 100 episodes, but we're back with Hoopers Lab 2.0.
Back in
Um,
black,
so the
or
boys are back in town.
back in pink and white.
I wouldn't know if you're wearing pink. Uh,
Oh yeah, I guess you can't even see me.
so Yeah, I can't even see you. You're just a mystery man today. Um, so if you're listening or watching this, if you're on Spotify, star this, follow this podcast. If you're on YouTube, oh, I just knocked over everything. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like the video, comment, all your support to be on the Enjoy Basketball network. That's the
Just
goal.
email,
That's the goal.
tweet at Kenny.
Yeah, or X at Kenny.
Yeah, I'm not calling that shit X.
Yeah, no. Let's start with some news from the NBA weekend. Did you see the Nuggets Celtics game, like
I
the
was gonna say
controversy that kind of
I was like not locked in this weekend at all when it came to games. I was super busy.
okay.
But what happened?
Yeah. Did you see the Jokic the Jokic free throw lane violation debacle?
Oh, where he like faked them out or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Situation, I don't know why they didn't redo the free throw, because isn't that what usually happens with a lane violation? They did a jump ball after. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
'cause yeah, if you miss the free throw and the other team violates, then you reshoot it.
yeah. Yeah. Jokic also, I think, violated though, because he literally stepped in violation, and then the other players were like, "Oh, I need to box him out." So then they also committed a lane violation.
That's a
So it was like
violation.
he he initiated it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Celtics got their first loss at home this
Yeah.
season. They were 20-0.
That's actually kind of
Um,
crazy to be honest.
yeah.
This is the
Did you
season
see
of
the
streaks.
yeah, no, for real. The bad streaks with the Pistons and the good streaks with the Celtics. I think that was their franchise home winning streak
So,
record
sounds
or
about right.
whatever. Yeah, I mean,
You know what's kind of crazy is that the Hornets are like having a really bad season, but it's like barely getting noticed because of how bad the Pistons, Spurs, and Wizards are.
yeah, yeah, no, that's true. Like the bottom of the league is just so bottom, and
Such
then
a
the top of the league is they're the bottom boys. What's the SpongeBob thing? There's something in SpongeBob, the dirty bottom boys. I don't
those are
but that doesn't.
those are the what are they? The bubble poppin' boys.
Oh, I mixed it up.
The dirty
Um,
bottom boys?
oh, that was a bad one. Didn't see this, but Jason Tatum had a play where he was on the fast break. It was like late in the game. He was on the fast break. There was four Nuggets players surrounding him, and there was him. He was the only Celtics player in the half court. And hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. My mic just okay. I thought I messed up. Like a 4-on-1. Tatum was the one, and he took it up on four players. And I was like, "What are you doing?" There was like I think less than a minute left, and instead of like dribbling it out, or there was like 30 seconds left, and they were down by two, and he just went up on four people
That's the Tatum
instead
way.
of
He's a choker.
dribbling it out. Yeah, he definitely wants that one back. Well, I would hope so. I'll live with that shot.
I took
Um,
the shot, so it's a good shot.
yeah, exactly. Is this the potential? Did we just see game this season of the potential finals matchup between the Celtics and the Nuggets?
I mean, I feel like it was what was the last one that they were talking about? The Thunder and Celtics. I just I definitely.
Timberwolves and Celtics
Oh,
had
was it Timberwolves? No,
yeah,
it was
we talked
Thunder.
about
It
that
was
one.
Thunder and
No?
someone. It was definitely Thunder and someone that people were saying,
Okay.
is this the finals matchup? But I'm still putting my. I would still put my bet on Celtics and Nuggets, even though the Celtics
Yeah.
disappointed last year. But I mean, everyone disappointed
Hmm.
last year in the East, so
Yeah. I'm still stuck between the Bucks and the Nug or not the Nuggets, the Bucks and the Celtics for
yeah.
who's gonna come out of the East. Uh, that's kind of who it's between right now for me. And then I still have the Nuggets in the West. But there's a team in the West that is dangerous, and that's the LA Clippers. Um, they had a big comeback yesterday. They outscored the Nets 41 to 15 in the fourth quarter. I think they were down by like 18 at one point.
Damn.
Um, and Kawhi was doing really bad in the first three quarters. He only had 7 points, 2 for 11 from the field, and then he just turned it up. He didn't miss a shot in the fourth quarter, and everyone played really well.
Yeah, I
And
did. I
this
did.
team looks scary.
Yeah, I didn't tap into the end of that game, but at the beginning, I was gonna put a bet on Kawhi's first quarter points, and I'm glad I didn't because when I checked, he had two. I was like, well, good news, I didn't do that. But problem is,
Yeah.
I also bet on Paul George's first quarter points, and he
Uh,
only had two.
yeah. Paul
But
George
yeah,
also struggled as
yeah,
well.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay, one of them had to have scored, and literally between the big three, I'm pretty sure they only had like two or four or some shit. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. They definitely struggled in the beginning. But I just want to talk about the Clippers for a second because, I mean, Ty Lue said to give them time. He said, Ty Lue said to give them
Ty
time.
Lue needs time.
Um, yeah. And, this roster is really coming together now. The trade deadline soon. I don't know if they're going to make any more moves or if they can. I think they'll just stay put.
I think so too.
Maybe like a tiny move.
Yeah,
But is this the second best team in the West, do you think?
I think so. Like if I had to, well, they're gonna right now they're gonna be on the if it were to end today, they would be on the same side as. Oh yeah, no, I guess because Denver's only like the three seed right now.
I could double
If
check. They
if the
just won against the Wizards, so maybe
if
just
the
jumping.
playoffs were to start today, I could see the
Nuggets are
conference
three.
I could see the conference finals being Clippers Nuggets, which I think is
Yeah.
possible based on the standings right now.
Hmm. I think that other than the Nuggets, I would say also that the Clippers are the best team in the West.
As long as the Clippers don't run into Dallas, they're good.
Yeah, Luca. They're that like Luca just gets so nuclear when he goes against the Clippers.
Luca
So
lives for the Clippers.
but yeah, the playoffs is all about matchups. But if the Nuggets say the Nuggets were eliminated first round, for instance, and it's like, okay, who's like the team that's going to be the favorite now in the West? I would say it's the Clippers.
Yeah, they
Um,
just like they look so um like they don't have any like weakness. Like you could say Zubac and their center depth, but they play well with Harden and like he's spoon feeding them. The only
yeah,
thing is you could say, defensively, obviously Zubac isn't all that, but I mean at the end of the day, on the perimeter you have Kawhi, Paul George, and that'll be good enough for a subpar center, even if they don't go out and get someone else, which they could, but I don't think it's needed.
yeah, I agree. And also in the West, no one's stopping Jokic. Like, there's not a big man that's gonna be a good matchup on him.
Yeah, the only
So
people that have like really shown uh, that they can put up a decent fight is honestly the front court of the Timberwolves. It's just because they have the two
yeah,
bigs, and I don't know. There was that one game this season that the against Zubac where Jokic did struggle, but that was when he had his little stretch. But I mean, you never know.
yeah,
The Jokic
yeah,
stopper,
true.
Zublaka.
Zublaka. Sounds like Dracula. Um, and then I also want to talk about the Suns because Booker had a 52-point game, I believe, against the Pelicans.
Unfortunately,
And
that he did.
yeah, I thought the Pelicans, you guys have Herb Jones, Tyson
He
Daniels.
was
What
cooking
happened
him.
there?
He was cooking him.
Yeah,
And Willie refused to double that man.
yeah. Um, the big three is starting to come together. They're playing more games together. I think they're 7-3, and they've won the last 5 games when the big three has played.
Yeah, they're starting to get
So
hot.
yeah, they're starting to get hot, which is dangerous. And I even like obviously their minimum contract guys aren't that great because they're minimum contract guys. But you got like Grayson Allen, who's been amazing this season. I still think he's the only player who's 50, 40, 90 right now. And then Nurkic has been pretty good at times.
He's been
Uh,
serviceable. He does what they need. While he's like
mhm,
at times you're like, what the hell is that man doing? But he does exactly what
yeah,
they want from their center. So it works sort of, even if he's
yeah,
not amazing.
yeah. Obviously, he's not elite, but at least he's not like a DeAndre Ayton type where he's just like, focus on just post scoring.
Yeah,
Nurkic, I think, had 9 assists the other game, which I mean is easy when you have Grayson Allen, KD, Booker, and Beal on your perimeter,
bro
and
has
like he's always been a
everyone.
good passer
Yeah, no, exactly.
from the center position. Yeah. Um, so yeah, how dangerous do you think this Suns team can be? Like, are you a believer now that they're heating up, or are there still teams, lots of teams in the West that you think can kind of overtake
Mm,
them?
I don't know if I want to go out and say they're a full-blown contender just because we've seen a lot of struggles from them as well. And at the end of the day, they basically just have a bunch of minimum guys around their big three, which like they some of them do fit into place fine, but I don't know. At the end of the day, it's hard to really put them in that same upper echelon with the Clippers and Nuggets, especially when I mean I don't have the statistics to back this up, but I feel like they wouldn't be a very good defensive team. So
I mean, they got Frank Vogel now,
that's
but
true.
I
They
mean,
do
I don't
have a
know.
good
I don't know
defensive
how they are
coach.
good defensively. I could
Yeah,
just check real quickly. I'm sure. Um, for defensive rating, they are. Oh, they are not very high. Oh, they're middle of the pack.
okay, that's fair. It sounds about right.
Um, but yeah, so I don't really have much else. I guess we could talk about DeJounte Murray a little bit because he had back-to-back game winners. Um,
Clutch player of the
he
year.
just no, but he was really good in those situations. And do you know why he hit those 2 game winners?
Well, I know the
One of
first
them,
one they messed up like calling a timeout.
yeah, but he took the ball out of Trey Young's hands.
Damn,
Trey Young wanted that ball, man. And then the second one, Trey Young wasn't playing. So the Hawks were two
DeJounte's
and
time.
one
Without Trey Young,
with
time to split them
without
up.
Trey Young and with Dejounte.
Yeah, but the Hawks only win one and lose one for their whole life.
Yeah,
So not the next game
that's
they'll
true. So the
the
next,
next game is a loss.
yeah, I mean they're 16-23 when they both play. Uh,
That's terrible.
that's below. Yeah, that's bad. That's not the win one lose one. That's
That's
win one lose two
lose,
win
lose, lose,
one.
lose, lose, win.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, but Dejounte's just raising that trade value pretty much.
Send him back to
Which
San Antonio.
honestly, yeah, he did you see he called Greg Popovich? He was like, that man's a father figure to me, and I'm like, you're still on the Hawks. I don't know.
I
This is weird.
I I was upset when the Spurs traded DeJounte because I feel like they could have got
Hmm.
where they were with DeJounte still. I don't know. That was always my thinking.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, they got a whole bunch for him. This was right after the Gobert trade, so the market was all skewed, I'm guessing.
The market was picks, picks, picks.
Yeah, so then they were like, let's capitalize on this. They seen that there was a generational talent in the draft, and they were like, yeah, we could tank for a bit. They're doing the
Last
1,000
trade
IQ play.
last trade deadline was so weird. Like there was those
Yeah,
trades for like one player and like 5 second round picks. Like what's the point? Is it just to get off
like Jay
the
Crowder.
contract? Like those trades were so weird.
Yeah, and then also the Raptors not doing anything was still very strange. I think they're
Pat
gonna look
Riley
back at that and
sleeping,
regret that. Pat Riley, what?
sleeping.
Oh yeah,
I mean
I
the
mean it
fact that
worked out.
the fact that they had like the Raptors had the opportunity to get like 4 first-round picks for OG. Like, man,
Yeah. Like for the Pelicans and Grizzlies bidding war, and they were like, actually, we're gonna opt out. We don't want to trade this man.
we're gonna hold off.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I wonder that's probably gonna be a big turning point in the next couple of years. Like, what if they like sold at the 2023 trade deadline, instead of, a little bit later,
Yeah.
because it didn't amount to anything. Like they made the play-in and then they lost to DeMar DeRozan's daughter. Like that's really,
Have you seen
really
that? Have you seen that clip of Scotty? Of Scotty screaming after he missed the free throw?
I think I did, yeah.
It made me laugh. He was like, "Oh!"
Being DeMar DeRozan's daughter. But yeah, I don't get what the DeJounte. The thing about DeJounte is I think he needs the ball in his hands a lot,
Yeah.
which isn't a bad thing. I just think that to capitalize on his value on the basketball court, he needs the ball in his hands. So I'm seeing all these rumors of him going to teams like the Lakers, the Knicks, the the fucking Bucks for some reason. But I just think that it's not going to be the greatest fit in terms of offense.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
I agree. I could see the Lakers pulling a trigger on it because they're the Lakers, and whenever there's
'Cause, yeah, name chase.
animosity, they name chase. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I really don't like the Knicks, other than the fact, unless he were to
No.
strictly buy in as like a primary defensive guy, like back to when he first entered the league, which I could see Tibbs like him accepting that
Hmm.
role from Tibbs. But yeah, I just think between Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson, there's just too much ball handling, like guys who need the ball in their hand. There, too much ball handling.
Hmm.
There's just and with Dejounte too, there'd just be too much going on there, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I think a guy like Brogdon would be a way better get
Yeah, I
uh,
agree.
for the Knicks. Just a way better fit. Obviously not as good as an individual player, but I think that Brogdon would be an amazing fit with the Knicks right now. But yeah, we can move on to our NBA All-Star picks, which is what we're doing. So I think in a couple of days they're going to release the starters. I think January 25th they're releasing the starters, for who's going to start in the All-Star game, and then I'm guessing shortly after that will be the reserves. But
50% of the starters goes from fan vote, right? Or did they lower it?
I believe so.
That's
Um,
kind of crazy.
yeah, I think that's how it
The
is.
fact that we were trying to vote in Zaza and they still take into account our votes, that's wild.
Yeah. No, yeah, facts. We don't really see that much anymore. Like this
Thank
year, there
God.
wasn't really those like troll picks. Like
Yeah,
there was no Derrick Rose this year, which I was surprised about because he's like always in the
that's
top
true.
10, no matter where he is.
What team? He's on the
I think
Grizzlies?
he's on the
Yeah,
Grizzlies. Yeah,
that's
I
why.
don't know how much run he's got, and I haven't seen him at all. I feel like.
No, the thing is, like,
Um,
you still see, like, the Laker bias come up because Austin Reeves was in voting, and it's not like he's having a great year. But yeah,
mhm. No, it's changed now. It's the Celtics bias.
for real.
All of their
Derek White.
starters, all of their starters were top five in their position
The
for
thing
voting.
is, it feels like they deserve it, which is the crazy part.
Yeah, that's how crazy that starting five is. How crazy that team is. Well, I mean, yeah, we'll talk more about that. I guess we should start in the East. So, who do you have starting in the Eastern Conference?
Joel Embiid. I know. Crazy
Okay,
pick, crazy
yeah,
pick.
the forwards are locked.
Jason Tatum. I
Yeah,
know, another crazy pick. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I know, I know. Really crazy. No one expected that. And then
isn't Giannis first in total votes?
I'm pretty
He might
sure
have been.
if they,
Yeah,
are they still doing captains? I guess they don't have to now.
they still are doing like captains, but they don't do anything. They're just like
It'll probably be the usual.
I, I don't know. Yeah,
I
but I'm
guess
surprised
KD.
Braun
I
isn't
guess
first. He's
KD's
always
won
first.
captain a lot of the times when he was on the Nets, but he's always fucking
Yeah,
hurt.
yeah,
Um,
he was captain twice, I think.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
And then my guards. The first one I have is Donovan Mitchell.
Okay. Okay. Talk a bit about that.
I just think that I don't exactly want to say the Cavs as a whole, but him specifically as well is having a super underrated season. Um, he's always going to put up the big scoring numbers, obviously, but I feel like once Darius Garland and Evan Mobley went out, he's really started showing out again, taking over all the primary
Mhm.
roles. Maybe it's better spaced now that you don't have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen clogging the paint together. But
Yeah,
yeah, since they went out, he's kept the Cavs afloat. If anything, they've been performing better since they both got hurt. And yeah, he's just
they're
having
12-3
yeah, and he's
since
just
it's been 15 games without Mobley and Garland.
damn. It's really been that long already.
And
That's kind of crazy.
yeah, Donovan Mitchell's averaging like 28 or 29 and
Oh
like
fuck.
7 assists in that time. So, and Jared Allen's been amazing in that time. So
Yeah,
I can understand Spida starting. That makes sense.
yeah. And then
Um,
the second one I put down is Tyrese. I just think
mhm.
he has enough of the fan vote behind him, and the I guess the yeah, I guess like the story.
Hosting. It's also in
I was
Indiana,
gonna
so
say
I think
plus it's
that
in
gives like a
Indy.
tiny bit of a.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he's a lock.
I
I
agree.
think that the four locks for starting in the East is Tyrese Halliburton, just because of what he's been doing this season. Um, it also helps that's in Indiana, but obviously he's been great other than that. And then Tatum, Giannis, and Embiid.
Yeah.
And then it's that other guard position that's in the air. So you chose Mitchell. I chose Dame.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
for me personally, I just think that I think that fan votes right now, which I mean, most of it is fan votes for the starters. But I also think that he's been in the league longer. I think that he has a lot of appreciation around the league. He's been super clutch this season, and the Bucks are doing really well. And, Dame and Giannis starting together. It's close though for this spot.
Yeah, I like
There was
that.
another
I like
guard.
that
Yeah,
pick.
I was also debating my point guard off the bench being in this position, and that's Jalen Brunson
That is my first
because
point guard off the bench as well.
yeah, Jalen Brunson's been insane. So glad I have him in fantasy. Um, but I mean, and then even since they got OG, he's been cooking even more. He's averaging like 28 points
Better spacing.
and
Holy fuck.
better, yeah, and just like they're stupidly locked in.
Bro, I
Um,
lost 10-1 this week in fantasy. Jesus.
oh my god, you've fallen off, man. You might need to do a trade with me. Do you want Anthony Simons, DeAndre Ayton?
If you're giving them for free, you can have Lonzo.
I I could have Lonzo. No, I want who do you have? Gary Harris. I think
You can
you
have
have
you can
I'll
have
take
Gary
Gary Harris.
Harris. He's hurt right now.
Okay. Oh, never mind. I was gonna do it, but now that he's hurt, but yeah, Brunson's been insane. I was considering him for this starting spot,
I
and
originally had him in the starting spot, and then I was like, no,
yeah,
I gotta put Tyrese in here.
yeah. Another thing about Dame, I don't think he's ever been an All-Star starter because in the West it
Steph
was
and
always
Luca.
Curry, and then yeah, Steph and Luca. But even before Luca,
I
he
was
was
gonna,
getting snubbed and
yeah,
just not making it,
yeah.
which is crazy.
Who was
He
making it
definitely
over
should have.
him? Yeah, who was making it
It
over him
was
during that time?
I don't remember, but there was one year where he should have made it. I'd have to look back. I don't even remember. Um, but yeah, Brunson's not really getting the respect in terms of like he was really low on the fan voting.
Yeah,
The
what the
New
hell,
York
Knicks
guys,
fans?
yeah, I don't know why. Celtics, they've been showing out for their guys with the All Star voting, but in New York, I guess they have better things to do than sit and vote all
They
day.
do.
I don't
I
know.
had my. Who was I usually voting for? I would vote for Trey Young, and usually it would vary, but I think mostly I would vote for Trey Young and Spida.
Yeah, I think I was voting for like Brunson and Maxey when I was actually voting.
Yeah, Maxi
Um,
got quite a bit of votes from me too.
yeah, and then my shooting guard off the bench is Spida. So I got Dame starting and then Spida off the bench. Still an all star, obviously. Um,
My next
who's your other
guy
guard? Yeah.
is Trigger Trey Young.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Um,
I just
just
feel
the
like
team success.
it plays a bit of a
plays a part?
factor, but not
Mm,
enough for me because he's been having a really good
yeah,
season, and I feel like I don't know if it was the past 2 years, but I feel like as of late with All Star, he's been getting snubbed a little bit just because for some reason everyone likes to call him overrated, which I don't know how that equivalates to
makes him underrated.
him being overrated, but yeah, I feel like this
Hmm.
year he'll get a bit more respect from coaches and just in general in that aspect. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I have him making the All Star game. He's off the bench for me. He's a wild card for
yeah,
me. He's the last guy that I put in. And the only reason, there's two reasons. One of them is that he's the only guy that I have making the All Star game that isn't in the playoffs right now,
yeah,
which, I mean, I don't think that the All Star should be as heavily focused on like players in the playoffs as it has been because it's all stars, not like all star teams.
yeah.
Um, but it still has played a factor in the past, so I take that into consideration. And then also, I don't think the coaches and other players around the league respect him as much as they do these other guards.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. That's
like,
why I'm hoping, I'm
yeah,
thinking that he will get a bit more this year, but yeah,
mm,
definitely the past few years, coaches really don't like him for whatever reason. I don't even know why. Like originally it was because of the flopping. Then he doesn't do that anymore. He doesn't do that
he
as
doesn't
much,
know.
and he's still scoring at the same, basically the same volume. So I don't know. Weird to
Yeah,
me.
I don't know. He's just kind of turned into a villain, and I think that his reputation around the league might not be the best.
Yeah, now it
Obviously, I'm
sucks
not
that
in the
now
league, so I can't speak on that.
now it sucks that he's this villain character and the Hawks reek too.
Yeah, like
Send
usually the villains
send him to
like
New
are
York.
yeah to Brooklyn.
Oh, damn. That would Trey Young and Mikal. That'd
um,
be kind of nice.
yeah, no, that would be nice. They'd give up Mikel.
Oh,
No,
hell no.
um,
They don't want to
I
trade
could
him.
see a I could see a universe where it is an All Star over Trey Young.
Where
Not
who
saying
is?
that that's what I have. For what?
Who is?
Derek White.
I could see it. Just he has a lot of um like hype backed around him, so I could see it. And obviously coaches are
I
gonna love that
I could
type
see
of player. So
it. I've seen crazier things in my time when it comes to the
We
NBA.
saw Wiggins be a starter.
Yeah, even at the time that was
That
wild.
was so wild. How'd the NBA
Yeah,
allow that, man?
he was killing it.
No, he was
It
not.
was K-pop.
He
It was
wasn't.
the
He
fan vote. That's
wasn't.
why we need to eliminate fan
He
voting.
wasn't even playing that well either. Like he was having a good season, but
Hmm.
wild, man, wild.
Well, for this All-Star voting, they eliminated where you could vote on
On
Twitter
Twitter, yeah.
because of the Wiggins thing. They were like, maybe these K-pop guys shouldn't really get a vote. Democracy, you love it. Uh, but we were talking about Derek White. A Celtic that I have making the All-Star game is Jalen Brown.
I have
Um,
Jaylen Brown making it too in this spot.
yeah, I think that when it comes to the All-Star game, lots of it is about reputation.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
Jalen Brown's a guy who's been here before, best team in the league. So there's no way that the Celtics don't get another All Star. And he's the second best player on the team,
Yeah, I
even though
agree.
people are trying to,
Yeah, I don't think
get
he's.
other guys in there.
Yeah, I don't think he's been having. I think he's been having a bit of a down year compared to as of recent. I don't have the stats for this either, but just from what I've seen. But he feels like a lock still, in my opinion.
I think he is. I think he's just his reputation. And also, he can't have that big of a contract and not be an All Star, you know?
He's got to
Um,
keep getting those incentives.
he's doing about the same. He just is like not scoring as much. Like he
Yeah,
was 27 points last year, 23 this year. But in terms of efficiency, it's all pretty similar.
yeah.
The Celtics just have more weapons now.
Tingus Pingus.
But I think he's proven himself as an All Star. That reputation, and the Celtics need to have another guy. So if it was going to be anyone, I still think it's going to be Jalen Brown.
Yeah.
Um, but I have a first time All Star for my next selection, forward off the bench. I've got Paulo
Ooh, okay.
making the All Star game.
I have first time All-Star selection coming off the bench, Scotty Barnes.
Okay, I thought this might happen. Scotty's an honorable mention for me.
I thought this might
Um,
happen. Yeah, I really wanted to put Paulo too, but I feel like Scotty's having a really good year, and I'm surprised it didn't show more in the fan votes from Raptors fans because they like to go crazy for their guys. Um, but yeah, I just think
not this
Scotty's
point.
having a really good season this year. He's shooting it super efficiently. The
Mhm.
all around game is really coming together. Obviously, the Raptors aren't trying to win heavily right now, but
Yeah.
that's obviously not on him.
hmm yeah, I have Paulo. He's been really good.
Especially
Games
as
in
of
that
late.
stretch where they didn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they didn't have Franz, and now he's back. So we'll see if he still gets some of that buzz. But, Paulo, he was a guy that was an honorable mention for me last year when it came to the All Star
really.
game, and he was a rookie.
Yeah,
And he's just gotten even better. The team has surprised everyone. They're in the playoffs. I believe they're doing better than the Raptors, basically.
yeah,
Um, and also, I just think that comes down to as well, not just reputation, but also like team status, where the Raptors don't get the respect ever from outside of Canada, NBA fans and NBA media. And then Paulo does more so.
that's true.
First overall pick. He's on a team that's, in the playoffs. Even though Scotty, like, if we're talking about individual seasons, Scotty might be having a better season just in terms of, like, the defensive
Overall,
end as well. Scotty's
yeah,
been insane
Scotty's
this
been
year.
really good defense. He's been doing everything. It's crazy. How much
Yeah,
he does
I
for
don't
them.
think it's been talked about enough.
It's okay. They have
Um,
Subway sponsoring him.
yeah, that's true.
Go away. Bye, Scotty.
He's such a cool guy
He is.
too.
See, he does this seem like he'd be super chill.
Yeah,
I
he'd
think
be
he,
awesome to have like mic'd up
yeah,
in
I
All
think,
Star
well, I think
game.
he, like he streams all the time. Like I remember, I would watch like
Okay.
Pierre's stream and they would always raid Scotty. So
Huh, interesting. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. He seems like that type of guy.
yeah,
So he'd be a great guy to have in the All Star game just for like the entertainment factor too.
yeah,
Um, but I think Paulo gets the slight edge for me. But if
I get
there's an
it.
injury, I think Scotty's one of the first guys that I'm calling up.
Not mad about it.
Yeah. My last forward off the bench for the East is Bam.
This is my last forward as well.
Bam is yours as well.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. The Heat are in the playoffs.
I feel like they've been slipping a little bit as of late, or at least losing a couple games as of late.
I know they lost their last two games, but I don't know where they are in the standings right now. But either way, Bam has been the bright spot on that
He's been
team,
having a really good
uh,
season this year.
and having a really good season. Heat are the sixth seed right now, on a three-game losing streak. But they're still in the playoffs right
It was
now.
since Jimmy came back. But yeah, he's just been his offensive game has been looking really nice this season, and
More aggressive,
obviously
more aggressive.
defensively, yeah, and obviously defensively as well. He's looking like a deep point candidate.
Yeah, for sure. And then off the bench, I already talked about Trey Young. My other guy off the bench is Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah,
At the beginning,
my last two are Dame because I didn't have him
yeah,
as a guard, and then Maxi as well.
yeah. So the only thing we have differently is you have Scotty, I have
I was
Paulo.
gonna say our East
I can't,
are it's basically
I
the same.
can't say I'm surprised. That's usually how these things go.
It is.
But with Tyrese Maxey, if you would have asked me in like for early December who I would have starting for this All Star game, I would have had Maxey in there.
Yeah,
Uh, but I think he has kind of these other guys have kind of picked it up. Like Brunson's been playing better, Dame's been picking it up, Vida, those guys, and Maxey's been like he has some stinker games.
that one where I
Um,
bet on his threes.
Christmases, yeah, was that
Grr,
on
that
Christmas?
was Christmas. Yeah,
Yeah, but even outside of that, he's had some games where he just like struggles a lot,
yeah,
and these other guys. have more of a reputation around the league. Most of them are like the first guys on their team or have, made the All-Star game before. So Maxi's still deserving of an All-Star selection, I believe, and I think he's going to win MIP, even though, is it deserved? Probably not.
What do you go from like
But yeah,
21 to 27, 26? I don't know how
like
much he's averaging still.
20 to 26.
Yeah, I knew it was
Um,
super high at the beginning
yeah.
of the year, but
I don't know about winning most improved when you're already a 20-point scorer,
I know,
though.
I know it doesn't. That shit don't sit right with me.
It doesn't feel right. Jalen Johnson is still MIP, man.
He is. That's my boy.
He went in a year. He went from a guy that
They didn't play.
wasn't in the rotation
Yeah,
really to now Hawks say he's untouchable in trade
it is
conversations.
crazy. And honestly, he should be. He's so good. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, unfortunately, he probably won't win. And because he's doing next to Trey Young too. But unfortunately, it'll probably go to Maxi.
hmm and then my honorable mentions, I have a couple. Derek White is one, just because he has been getting the
So
fan
much
voting, and
buzz.
he has been incredible. But the problem is, here's my problem. I don't think that he should make the All Star game because I think that people are so quick to give things in terms of like giving people credit.
Yeah,
So like they see Derek White, he's doing great. People say that he's going under the radar, so they want to give him something to reward him instead of just like talking about him. Like you could still
I think the buzz
talk
he's
about
getting
how
is.
great he's doing.
I think the buzz he's getting is enough, and I agree. I don't think he should be an all-star, even though he has been
Mhm.
performing great. But he's getting all the buzz, so
Yeah, there's other ways to appreciate players. We
that
don't need to give them an award or an accolade.
that could have
I
been
think that we can
D'Lo.
just appreciate them. What?
D'Lo said he wanted to be like Derek White at the beginning of the year,
And
and
he's
he's
not even
not
close.
not even remotely close.
They're not even on the same wavelength in terms of style of play. But you do you, D'Lo. You do you. And then I have Scotty as an honorable mention. I'm guessing you have Paulo as well.
I didn't
Um,
like put down my honorable mentions, but yeah, he'd be one.
yeah. Julius Randle's a guy who almost made it for me.
I know I really wanted to get him in there too, and I was like, nah, I just don't think there's any way over other
It's
guys.
close though. He's close. The start of the season really hurts him.
I know
I think
he was so bad at the beginning of the year.
he was so horrendous. I thought it was the 1 year one off Julius Randle again. I was like, oh, we just had an up year. Now he's back down because that's what the pattern was.
Yeah,
Um, but especially as of late, he's been amazing.
yeah,
Since the OG trade, that whole team's just been clicking
they're
away.
going crazy.
Yeah. And then my last honorable mention is Jimmy Butler. Um, he has that reputation around the league. He just hasn't been like all that great. I don't know how many games he's played as well. He might
He's
not
missed
even
quite
be
a
like,
he missed most of December. He just doesn't care, man. Like that's the thing. He
even when
literally
he makes it,
he
I don't,
literally
I don't
just
like it.
does not care.
Yeah, but he's worth the mention just because of we know what he can do.
Yeah,
But he's more focused on doing that stuff in the playoffs. So like he's been okay this year, but he's saving himself a bit, and that's
yeah.
fine. I appreciate that.
I
I'd rather him do
appreciate
that.
you. Yeah, I agree.
And then I actually have one more honorable mention. It's Pascal Siakam, but I don't think that most of that was just because of the Pacers boost, New Indiana player, maybe gets that little
That's
bit of a
fair.
boost,
Yeah.
but I don't think he makes it.
No,
He's like my fifth honorable
there's
mention.
like no
So
buzz around it.
yeah, unless there's like hella injuries. But even if there's hella injuries, Derek White might make it over him.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's move on to the West. Who do you have as your West starters?
Nikola Jokic, quite a surprise.
Hmm
LeBron James, another
Yeah.
surprise.
hmm
Now my last forward is Kawhi.
Okay, I have KD as my
Yeah, I think that's
West
the other.
starter.
I agree. I think that was the other obvious option.
hmm Yeah. I still have Kawhi making the All Star game, obviously,
Yeah,
but if you're talking about team success, which I was talking about earlier, obviously the Clippers have been better than the Suns. But when it comes to fan voting, KD's up there. When it comes to
That's
reputation
true.
around the league, KD's been up there. And KD's been doing it more consistently, I would say.
Yeah,
He started the year off like averaging 30, and he's not averaging 30, I don't think, anymore.
sure he's close to
He
it.
might be, yeah. But Kawhi kind of started the season out slow,
Yeah, that's true.
the momentum. Uh, yeah, I just think KD has been more consistent. Yeah, KD's averaging 29, so he basically is averaging 30. At the age of, how old is he? Like 36,
30,
35?
same age as Steph,
He's
I
35.
assume.
Yeah, they're both 35.
Damn, we're getting so old.
Yeah, we're almost 35 as well. We'll be there in a year, man. Um,
My
yeah.
guards are Luka Doncic
Nuki Donkey.
and Shea Gilgeous-Alexandria.
Okay, I have those same guards starting, and it's crazy that Curry's not a starter,
Yeah, I think if
but
um it were to come down to like if you were getting Steph in there, I think the other you'd be looking to get Luka out of the starting lineup. I think Shea's a lock. Um,
really,
yeah, and it's
okay.
not 'cause um he's like better than Luka, but
Mhm.
I just think Luka like he obviously doesn't. He's another person that doesn't care about the All-Star game whatsoever. So it just
Yeah,
if it were if I were trying to get really trying to get Steph in there, I'd definitely be looking to keep Shea in there.
yeah, I don't hate that just because of at the end of the day, the All-Star game, even though it's shit, it's supposed to be an entertainment. It's supposed to be about entertainment.
Yeah,
Curry's going to try more in the All-Star game than Luca. So from that perspective, I can agree.
yeah,
I
and
don't
he's just
think Curry
entertaining.
really has. Yeah, that's true. He's just like an All-Star game kind of guy.
Yeah,
But if we're talking about, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just
bro,
um,
just yapping.
Curry. I don't think Curry makes it.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
Reputation.
And he's having he's just having too much of a down year in my opinion. Like he's been having a lot of stinkers.
He's had some rough stretches, which unfortunately he can't afford to do. Even though he's
Yeah,
35, he should have more help, but he just doesn't. Um, but yeah, I think Luca and Shea. I think the starters are pretty solidified. I'd say KD and Kawhi is kind of the only real argument you could make.
yeah.
Do you think that if we eliminate, like, let's say, just based off individual seasons, would you have like Kawhi in the All Star game starting instead of LeBron? Because like LeBron's basically untouchable, but if we take that away,
Based off
do you
seasons.
think that Kawhi?
I would. The
Yeah,
the Lakers suck, and the Clippers are really good,
yeah.
and Kawhi is having a really good year. And it's not to say
Well, I
LeBron
guess in
isn't
your case it would be KD.
having a great year, but
Mhm.
um,
Yeah, you
yeah,
could even argue AD has been having a better season
then LeBron,
than
yeah,
LeBron.
I don't think that's a
Yeah,
terrible take either.
so LeBron's gonna be a starter until he retires,
Till he,
basically, just because of the
LeBron
reputation.
LeBron would be a starter until he dies.
Yeah, yeah. There'll be All Star fan voting in like 2070, and you're like LeBron James starting.
Who is that
Yeah.
guy?
Who is this old head? Um, so I'm guessing you have Curry
He's
off the bench.
obviously the first person off the bench. Surprise,
Yeah,
surprise. My second guy off the bench is Ant Frinny
I have Anthony
Simons.
Edwards as
Just
well,
kidding. Yeah,
and Fernie Simons.
yeah. My first guy is Ant. Originally I didn't put him as my first guy off the bench, but I was like, nope, it definitely should be Ant. They're the first seed. He's having a great year. He has all the hype in the world. Everybody loves Anthony Edwards. No reason he
Mhm.
would not be. I was gonna say I could see
Yeah,
him making a run for starter, but not over Lucas Shea and Steph.
yeah, that's true. It's just so stacked.
Yeah,
he's gonna entertain as well. He's another guy that might come up and he's gonna get you all the highlights and clips.
That he will.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, we didn't talk about the East first time All Stars. We have Brunson, which he should have been All Star
Holy
last
shit, I
year.
forgot he was an all-star last year.
Yeah, I know. He got snubbed last year. And then I have Paulo, you have Scotty as first time All Stars, and we both have Maxi as first time All Stars. So yeah, I just want to say that. Small forward, or I guess my next forward off the bench for the Western Conference, I have Paul George. He's been good. I think he's an all-star. It's another reputation thing. The
Yeah.
Clippers have been great. He has kind of had some stretches, but he's also had some really good stretches. I think for me, mostly it comes down to it's because he's a forward.
Yeah.
Like both my wild card guys are guards, and they're having better seasons than Paul George. But
Yeah.
Paul George is listed as a forward, and he's been really good as well. Not to disrespect Paul George. So, who do you have as
Yeah, my
forward off the
first
bench?
guy off the bench is obviously KD. Don't really need to
Yeah.
talk much about him. But yeah, my second guy also is Paul George, and he's just been having a really, like you said, he's been having a really good year. He just fits. He's been fitting really well off the ball and everything for them. So yeah,
Yeah, that his podcast going to give him a little boost when it comes to fan voting. And he's just widely respected around the league, and he's just been really good off the ball, like you were saying, and just been a really key part of this dangerous Clippers team.
yeah,
So, and then my last forward off the bench is AD. I'm guessing you have him
yes, he
there
is
as
my
well.
last forward off the bench. I really didn't want to have two Lakers on here, but it's just you can't get around it because AD's having a really good year. LeBron's LeBron. There's just no reason that he shouldn't be on here.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason why I'm not the biggest fan of team success playing so much of a part is because of this situation right here. Like a team like the Lakers, where they're just not good everywhere else except for their top two guys who are clearly all-star superstars.
Yeah,
Like you're not going to put a guy like Karl Anthony Towns over AD just because Cat's the 1 seed and the Lakers are like the 10 seed.
yeah, yeah.
I just
I
don't
agree.
think that makes a lot of sense. It's the All-Star game, so we're voting in the best players, and I don't think that should play that much of a role.
I agree. I think we've been trying as a NBA community as a whole to make these fringe level all-star and type guys really be getting in there dependent on team success, which I mean, fair enough. But like, yeah, at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day, AD is like a top, arguably like a top five talent. I'm not saying he's top five, but like talent-wise,
Yeah,
he could definitely be up there.
he's had stretches where he looks like that. And again, it goes back to what I was saying, where we can appreciate players without slapping an all-star accolade onto them.
Yeah,
Like we can appreciate what the Timberwolves are doing without giving them two all-stars. Like even if you're a top team, you don't have to have two all-stars if you don't have, you know, two all-stars.
yeah. I think the
You
Chris
may have
Middleton,
all-star caliber players.
I think the Chris Middleton All-Stars kind of
Yeah.
ruined that. Cause yeah,
There was also the East though.
that's
So
true.
was he making it over like in the West it's one thing because a guy like Cat, a guy like Jamal Murray, like they're not in the All-Star game this year. They might never make it again just because of how stacked the West is. But they're
Yeah,
going to be on teams that are really good. So, um, and then my guard off the bench, or my wild card, I guess. I have De'Aaron Fox as a wild card. He's been really good. He's been cooking. The Kings have kind of fallen off a bit. I don't know where they are in the
I think they're
standings.
the
I will
sixth
just
seed.
double check.
Or no, seventh,
Uh,
seventh or sixth.
they're 8.
Holy shit, really?
The
Who? I
Suns,
was gonna
yeah,
say,
they're
did
on
the
a
Suns leak them? Damn.
yeah, they're on a 4-game skid right now, and the Suns are on a 5-game winning streak. But regardless, for a team that's currently in the playoffs, De'Aaron Fox, All-Star game last year, and he's been really good this year. he's averaging. He was averaging close to 30 for a little bit. I don't
Yeah.
know what he's averaging right now, but we know he's going to be really good in the clutch. He's averaging 28 right now. So like, I don't really see how you can't put him in there. He's probably the guy that's like, if I had to take out someone, it might be him
Yeah.
in
I
terms
agree.
of wild card.
I
Do you have
have
him?
I do not.
Okay, here we
I
go.
have his partner, Domantas Sabonis.
Okay,
And I
interesting.
know it's
Um,
an interesting
yeah.
take. But yeah, the Kings are, compared to what you'd expect, they're underperforming. And obviously, I don't think they deserve to, even though both their guys are elite. But I just feel like every game I check the Kings box score, and Domantas Sabonis has like 15, 15, and 15. Like statistically, he has just been off the charts. So yeah,
Yeah, he has been insane this year. It's not that crazy to me, but
to
I
the
think with
to
Domantas
the average
Sabonis,
fan, they'll be like, "Get this guy out of here." But yeah,
yeah, Domantas Sabonis, I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league, to be honest. He's
yeah,
just very like disrespected, honestly.
yeah. His only problem is defensively, he's still mediocre.
Yeah.
But I mean, with how much of a hub he is offensively, like I think it balances out
Hmm.
nicely.
Yeah. I like how we're starting to get away from like we're starting to get the idea more that center position doesn't have to be great defensively. I think Jokic has really helped that argument,
Yeah,
winning a championship as a guy who's not known as a defender from the center position. But even guys like Domantas Sabonis, where the Kings were really good last year, and he's not a defensive-minded center, and even Şengün this year, where the Rockets have been giving him more time, and he's been great. The team's been good for the most part. But
speaking
last
of
year, he wasn't
speaking
getting playing time.
speaking of Sengun, that is my last All Star.
Year. Okay, you don't have Devin Booker in there?
Holy shit, I forgot to re-add him. God damn it. He was who I had in place of Ant,
Okay,
as my
gotcha.
second guy. Sorry, Sengun, I guess not. You know what? We'll stand on it for now.
Devin Booker,
We'll
you're
stand on
gonna
it for
stand on
now.
it?
Sengun the All-Star. Booker snubbed again.
I mean,
Um,
Booker didn't make the All Star game last year, and I know he was injured, but he still should have made it and then been
been
replaced.
replaced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely a reputation thing for Book though. Because not that he's been having a bad year, but the Sun struggles at the beginning of the year really.
Mhm.
Um, lowered his case, but as they've been progressively getting better, and obviously he just had the 52 piece where he looked like he could
Mhm.
not miss. So yeah, I'm not. Yeah, Book definitely would make it over Sengun, but yeah, Sengun's been having a really good year himself. Um, he's similar to Sabonis. It feels like every game he's near triple double status. Um, and his scoring has been really good this year as well. And obviously the Rockets have been fluctuating around that play-in territory all year. But yeah,
Mhm. I think Şengün should get some buzz. I want their. I mean, I know this is bad, but I kind of want an an injury or someone to miss the
I
game
know
just so that Şengün can make it in.
the West is
Just
just so
because,
stacked.
yeah, Şengün has been amazing this year, and I had him making the All Star game a couple months ago, but as some other guys have kind of started to pick it up, and the Rockets have started to fall off as a team, I think he's been kind of lost in the shuffle.
Yeah,
But he's been still amazing. He's been playing like an All Star, and if the All Star game was expanded, he definitely would be in there. It's just the fact that it's just so limited in terms of who makes it and who doesn't, which I think it should be.
yeah,
I think that there is some conversations people have every year where like, this guy is snubbed. We need to make the All Star game bigger. But it's like that kind of defeats the purpose of it, I think.
I agree. Adding more spots, like while it feels deserved, because it's up to some extent there is more talent in the league just in general. So if
Yeah,
you're,
true.
I think it would balance out kind of that feeling of like the 80s, 90s where you had guys that are like, yep, these are all-star caliber players and that's obvious and you have the
Mhm.
perfect amount. Like I understand the thought of adding a spot, maybe even two, just because of how deep the league is, but I am a guy of I like tradition, and I don't mind like the addition of the play-in and stuff, obviously, but like league history
Hmm.
at the end of the day is league history, and I don't like the idea of that changing to for the better of our players, I guess. That sounds bad,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I know what you mean. I think that the
yeah,
comparison I can make is when it comes to people want to shorten how many games are played, but then like I think that would screw up with a lot of records, like you were saying. So I think that that's something. Even though they probably should play less games in a season, it's something that I think is too late to change, just
that's my
because it's
thing.
been
Yeah,
what they've been doing, and it would kind of screw up uh, like records and just a bunch of that stuff.
exactly. That's my thing. And there's so many
Yeah,
like incentive things are based around All-Star and All NBA appearances these days,
that's
where
another
it's
thing too. Yeah.
like Jaylen Brown just became the most paid player in NBA history because he made a couple All NBA teams. Like that's crazy to me.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think that what if we do extend the All Star game and there is a year where there's lots of injuries or something, and we have some guys that really shouldn't make it, just making the All Star game,
Then Derek White
like an
gets his
Andrew
All-Star
Wiggins.
nod.
Yeah, then Derek White would be an All Star, which, like, All Star, All Player, and All Star, you know, I
Two
think
different
that's
things.
kind of
Yeah,
something that yeah, I just don't really want to give All Star appearances to role players. And that's something with the Wiggins thing a couple of years ago, which I yeah, I keep beating down that dead horse, but like something that shouldn't happen.
he should not have been
This
an
should
All-Star.
the All Star game should be the top of the league, the best players in the league.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
yeah, yeah, I have Şengün as an honorable mention. I love how Şengün's been playing. I would love to put him in here, but I just can't.
Yeah,
And same thing with Sabonis. He's been insane. Sabonis. I didn't know that this was Sabonis' stats. Sabonis is averaging 8 assists per game right now. Um, 13 rebounds and 20 points.
yeah. I'm telling
20,
you, like
13, and 8.
every game he's
Like,
just putting up monster stats. Like it's crazy.
other than Jokic, I don't know if there's been another player that's averaged those stats.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was not 20. Well, 20, 13. Yeah, 13 is a
8.
lot. Cause I was gonna say like Russ and Luca have been close, but not really.
Yeah, but it's just insane that he's doing this from the center position.
Yeah, Domas. Yeah. He's not. He
And
doesn't get
it,
respect,
yeah,
but he deserves it to an extent.
who does?
Sabonis.
Yeah, he's having a better season than last year, and he was an All Star last year. So I think that based off that, I
Yeah.
think that you could definitely put him in the All Star game. Um, and I have a few other honorable mentions. One of them is Cat. I don't think he's been having nearly as good of a year as guys like Sabonis, as we mentioned, and like Paul George. But the fact that they are the 1 seed right now really does give them a boost in these conversations.
Yeah, and he definitely
Not to
like
say that they've
slipped
been
a
bad,
bit.
but
He definitely slipped a bit since the start of the year, but he's still putting up like he's still having a super efficient season. He's really
yeah.
buying into that role player type role next to Ant, which is why they're doing as good as they are. But yeah,
Hmm.
definitely deserves to be on the short list of all-star mentions. But yeah, I didn't have him either, obviously.
Yeah. And then I have Larry Markkinen as another one just because of his crazy efficiency and how the Jazz have been playing recently.
Yeah, I feel like
Like they
there's
are,
no
yeah,
buzz around Laurie, and
there isn't
there was so much last year, which is why it's funny to me.
because it was in Utah.
Yeah, but
Because it was the first season as well.
that exactly.
People like 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 new things.
Yeah,
So isn't the shiny new toy anymore, but he has been playing amazing and the Jazz have
the
really been picking it up.
Jazz have been playing crazy. The Jazz have been out of their minds lately.
Yeah, Sexton starting has been great for them. And Will Hardy is an amazing coach.
He deserves to be in
Uh,
that. Once the Jazz
yeah,
actually have a competent roster, he'll definitely show that he can be in those top conversations.
yeah. And it's also just like we've seen Will Hardy and the Thunder coach Mark. Uh, we've seen them some of the best coaches in the league, and they're so young, and this is their first stint, which is why I don't understand why the Hornets still have Steve Clifford as their coach.
Yeah,
They need to take a risk and try and find the next Will
they
Hardy, the
have
next
a
Mark
they
Daigneault,
have a defensive-minded head coach, and they can't play
an
defense.
old head, yeah, and just like someone that's not innovative
He
at
doesn't he
all.
doesn't fit them
Just
at all.
this,
Is this his last year? I feel
no,
like this is
it
was
better
his
be.
last year.
I don't know, because like, who was it? Kenny Atkinson was supposed to be that coach for them, and then he did,
He's in
so
to
they
stay
had
with
to
the
scramble.
Warriors. Did he end up winning another ring with the Warriors, or was that after already?
It was the championship year,
Damn, poor guy.
so now they're bad. So it's like,
Shoulda took the job.
yeah, always chase the bag. And then my last All Star mention is Kyrie Irving, who's been absolutely insane.
Yeah, he's been having a really
And
good year efficiency wise next to Luca, but
yeah, it's just the games played,
yeah,
but he's been incredible this year. And his reputation, I think, is starting to come around a bit more, where obviously he has been a guy where he's, people know how good he is, but it's also been that thing where it's like, he said some stuff in the media, but I think this season, there hasn't been any headlines at all about him so far.
no Brandon Ingram mention.
I think the Pelicans are the only team in the playoffs that will not have an all-star.
It's just hard. Um, I think
The West is stacked.
it's kind of helping his case low key that the Pels don't get any media attention because he's been not very good as of late. The last two games have been
He
solid,
hasn't. I see. Yeah.
but yeah, he had a really bad stretch before the last two games where he was really struggling. But which I don't know.
He's
I
had some
guess it helps
duds.
his case because people are honestly talking about Bi more than I expected this year. But yeah, he probably won't make it.
But yeah, people should have been talking about him in the previous years when he was averaging 25. Now he's only averaging 21, and he
Now he
has
has
had like
now he has to
those
play
duds of a
next to
game.
CJ, Trey, Murphy, Jonas for some reason is still on the roster.
Yeah, they've just been like so good as a team. And it's also a thing where not every playoff team needs to have an all-star. Like I think they definitely should try, but in this scenario, like they don't have an all-star deserving player in the West. We just named 5 honorable mentions that I would
Yeah,
put above Ingram, and there might be more. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that
The
the
Pelicans
Pelicans have an
they're
all-star.
also super weird because like sometimes they'll blow out good teams like the Kings, and even against the Clippers they've had good games, and then they also get blown out by them. National TV,
Yeah,
Lakers cooked us. Nuggets just recently cooked us. It's so weird.
yeah.
No close
And I also
games.
think that's good for the Pelicans to kind of be that under the radar team. Like I wouldn't mind them not having an all-star and kind of having that chip on their shoulder.
Yeah,
And obviously Zion doesn't deserve it, even though, people probably want to give it to him just because of, how good he was in the past, but that's just not who he's been this season.
he's been better as of
Um,
late, but yeah, athletically still not the
he
same at
has,
all.
but
Bro,
no, he's not the
I have
360.
I have not seen Zion poster somebody in like forever. It's actually kind of sad.
I don't think he does anymore. I
Because
would
he
love to
can't jump that high.
see dunk stats. I don't know if this is like a thing. It might be in like the depths of the internet, but I want to see his dunks compared to a couple years ago when he was averaging 27 and when he was that guy that was known as a dunker just that could yam on you. I'd like to see that compared to now what
Well,
he's been doing.
he's got to be shooting at least 90% of his shots layups.
It has to be because that's all he does.
Yeah,
And he hasn't been as efficient from the field. Like he was a guy where it was like he was shooting like Giannis numbers
60,
at the rim.
70. Yeah. He hit a
Now he's
three.
shooting pretty good,
He hit a
but
three the other day.
he's shooting 40% on the year right now from three.
He barely takes them,
It's
but
on 0.3
yeah, he
attempts.
barely takes them, but he's low key like
But
pretty efficient when he does shoot it. Not the free throw line though.
he's been having, this isn't very good. He's been having like a very similar season to his rookie season, other than the assists.
Yeah.
The assist is like the only thing that's really been a key difference from his rookie season, which I mean, um, he's averaging 5 assists right now,
Yeah,
so that's good.
his playmaking's been solid this year.
Yeah, but he's gonna be 24 soon, and I'm
He
I don't
still
know if
has
we'll ever get back to that.
no other part of his game.
Yeah. Um, it's interesting, but I don't mind the Pelicans not having an all-star. Is there anything else we need to talk about before we conclude this episode? We have our all-star picks. And yeah, is there anything else?
I don't think there's any news. I'm trying to think of anything, but I don't think really.
I don't really think so since our last episode. I don't think there's been anything that's going on. As soon as this episode releases, though, there'll be a big news thing probably.
LeBron traded to USC to play with Bronny.
LeBron to get a college degree, uneducated.
I guess he did never go to college. It's perfect.
He never did.
Never
Yeah,
start
he's
too
going
late.
back to get degrees. It never is. I want to see what Bronny's been doing at USC because I don't even know if
I don't think he's been very good.
I don't even know if he'll get like drafted.
I think
And if he does, it's literally
it's
just
just off his
because
name. I think he's my like a defensive prospect.
he's averaging 6 points right now.
He's also
He's
he's
playing.
playing behind Collier, so like it makes sense, but yeah.
He's also on a good team, so that
Yeah.
does hurt his case. He is shooting not good.
Yeah, he's not very
Um,
good.
yeah, he started 3 games, averaging 19 minutes a game, but
And he's averaging 6? Bro, it's college. What is Blood doing?
he's averaging 6 points, 2 assists. He's shooting 25% from three on 3
Jesus.
attempts a game, which is not good, and 38% from the
Well,
field.
they did say Bryce is the shooter of the family.
Yeah, Bryce might be the NBA player of the family. Well,
Nah,
we'll have to see.
Missouri.
Yeah, facts. But yeah, I think that's all for us for this episode of the Hoopers Lab podcast. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode. We hope you enjoy, and we hope that you join us Friday for the next installment of this wonderful podcast.
Woo!
And woo! And we'll see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.
Adios.